This tutorial will analyze a file, email, that was sent to us to determine whether or not it was malicious. What we have integrated is a phishing report email address and phishing report button. Anytime end user suspects a phishing email or spam, what we ask them to do is, if it ended up in their inbox, to report it to us. And once it's reported, we can help them determine whether or not it was malicious or legitimate email. And we need to adjust our filtering safeguards. So what we'll have in front of us is a message like this. So it came in, it was sent to phishing, myself, and what we have is the content. Now, if you were to go and analyze the header of this message, that will be analyzing the message that was sent from our internal end user to our phishing internal and inbox. This is not what we want to do. We can certainly determine this if we have suspicion that the email was not legitimate and somebody's trying to phish actually the IT security department. In this case, that's not the case. It was validated with the end user and prior with reviewing the headers. It actually came from our end user. What we're interested in is the attachment. Every time we engage and invoke the phishing report button, what it does is it goes in, takes the original message, saves it as a MSG format, and forwards it on to our phishing inbox. This allows us to actually receive as an attachment and review the headers without actually asking the end user to do that. So the original message that was sent to our end user that they need help analyzing is an attachment. We open it up, and no, the likelihood that you open an attachment like this and view the content is low, as long as you don't act on the content, like click a link, open attachment, and something else. So what we're seeing, this is the original message. We go in and get the internet headers. We copy those. And the easiest way to analyze them is to go and use a tool like the online Microsoft Analyzer or the Analyzer add-on within the Outlook client. Click Analyze, and now we see what's the story of this email. Where did it come from? What actually happened. We see that the context was a help desk survey for incident. Looking straight up, this is not our incident reference. This is not how we name our service desk incidents or requests. So one indicator internal. We're looking into the message ID. So it came from this domain, which kind of matches the actual from. Look at the two, it was kind of odd. It was said to Todd Ferguson, So from Todd to Todd, which is odd. So if you receive email from yourself to yourself, that's kind of an interesting indicator. Something is not right. Who else are you sending the message to? Is the domain spoofed? So far, there's some red flags that don't add up in the story. Let's look into the flow, where the email was sent from, where was it received, and stuff like that. So we're seeing that it was sent from a funky address. It looks like that's the domain is using IPv6 as opposed to format like this, which is IPv4. Okay, so we're seeing that this actual host sent it out, which is lrsd.org. And by the way, this is an example that I'm looking into real time. It's not something that I had a chance to review prior. So we're doing this on the fly. We're doing that analysis on the fly. So it looks like, the time that it was received was during the day. It looks like it was processed, from this destination server, and then it went to Google. From Google, it was processed, went to Outlook, Office 365, and ended up into the client inbox. So far, kind of an interesting, it came from the domain, and it was received by the end user inbox. So spam confidence level 5. If you click on the link, probably going to talk about why it looks like this was marked as spam. Okay, it was not in any known verdict, but the pointer return record was Google. Connecting IP was also Google, which is kind of odd. So what's looking into the details? We're seeing the authentication results, SPF soft fail. So we're seeing that, obviously the destination, of Ferris was not really, um, this was not impersonation, it came from external host. But we're looking into, look into the domain that received SPF. We have a soft fail. Domain of transitioning LRSD discourages the use of Google as a permitted sender. How do I know this is Google? If you go in and do domain dossier, what we're doing is we're going to see that if you're looking into here, we're doing it's google.com. So it was registered to google.com and looking into the net range, the network belongs to google.com. So that's how I know this is Google. The X received, you look into the client that's private IP address, so not really helpful. Google SMTP source, X received. So looking at other indicators, the return path. Okay, the return path matches the actual sender. So what I'm thinking so far, my hypothesis is that somebody impersonated the lrsd.org and send the email. We need to verify, is lrsd.org an actual legitimate organization? So we're going to do a DNS lookup. Let's look into LRSD. Oh, it looks like it's a legitimate organization. At least, at least the domain name exists. So the register of views, registration expiration date. Look at the registration expiration. Registry expiry date, 2018. The creation date was 2000. Okay, they have contact information, so what we can do at this time, look at this, the contact information was somebody's personal account. That's, very comforting. So you have the lrsd.org, whatever that they do, and then the abuseswebhero.com, and it's Savannah4, the username. That's not very comforting. So either they don't have very good security, likely their domain was spoofed and they have an open relay, whatever the case. But look, there's a webmaster too. So it's kind of interesting. This domain doesn't give me a high level of confidence. Then comparing the network quiz, look at the range that belongs to LRSD, and look at where it was sent from, 211.119, 211.119. So this falls, if I compare the, the middle octets. So it looks like it was sent from Arkansas Public School Computer Network. Surprise. So public school computer network, was the likelihood not properly hardened? There's a good chance. Okay, so that's kind of interesting there. Ironport anti-spam filter, yes, subject. So look at the spam, the subject, message ID. It looks like that matches. Looking at any of the other provided in reply to content X originating IP. Let's look into that, the X originating IP. So X originating IP. What information can we find out about that originating IP? Airtel networks. And what is Airtel? Banana Island. Nigeria. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. So let's Lagos State, Nigeria. So if you go into look into where this was sent, that's kind of interesting. You know, how what's the likelihood of an email originating from this school district and somebody's in Nigeria? Well, there's a chance if they're traveling for a mission or whatever the case, but in our case, it's very unlikely. Okay, so what else do we get from here? The anti-spam report. We're looking into the sender was not listed. It looks like it was marked as spam. So with another indicator that's spam, SLP equals 1, so it was some type of malicious URL. It was a URI scan. Spam diagnostics, yeah, it's a pretty good indicator. The exchange organization is anonymous. That's another indicator that can be took in consideration. So so far, it looks like this was legitimate marked as spam, and obviously was impersonation. What we can do is, if you look into domain this here, error timeout. So it looks like the people that send email spoofed. They didn't likely, it's not likely that they spoofed the sender. Maybe they compromised an account and used that account to distribute email. How is this done? Through potentially a phishing attack. Now, can you find out if the domain was potentially compromised? Well, maybe we can. One way to do that is we can look into the SPF, DKIM, and DMARC records. So let's go into and use the MX Toolbox network tool and look into the LR areas, the SPF. So we're going to do the DMARC, we're going to do the SPF, and we're going to do the DKIM. Let's see if we can do all three at the same time. DNS record not found. DMARC. So the DMARC, the record is not found. So DMARC is not configured. It's not really helpful. Let's look into the SPF. And it's doing on SPF. And let's look what the SPF looks like. So it's validated as 189 SMTP server that the message originated from. Let's look into if that matches where it came from. So what we're doing is 170.189, 170.189, and if you were to compare it to 170 to 11, 118, 189, to 11, 118, 189, to 11, 118, 119, 189. So this was sent from within the domain. It's a very good chance that somebody's account was compromised as part of phishing or error campaign, and the account in that organization was used to distribute spam and phishing. What we're going to do is we're going to notify the organization and make sure that they're aware of that. And then let's look into another indicator within the actual message. And let's see here. So for our organization, we have Office 365 ATP enabled, Advanced Threat Protection with safe links, rewrites the link. So if you were to click on it and it's not malicious, what happens is you get the notification. Yep, that's not malicious. Look at the URL itself. Okay. What we can do is also we can use a tool like URL scan.io, Google browser, and see if somebody else is aware of that. It looks like I didn't do the verification. I'm not a bot. Capture here, nice capture. So this can take some time. I love those. Obviously, the resource can be abused, and people are afraid this can be done. So, gotta go through the painful process of verifying that I'm actually a human. So scan it and see what happens if URL scan.io finds any information about this domain being malicious. Now, obviously, citymax.com does not match the LRSD, so they're probably trying to, fish for um, information, username, password, whatever else they may be asking for. And there was one request, one IP, and this was the actual server is located in Canada. So from here, what we can do, using Windows Server, what are they actually doing? I'm gonna look right now. We don't have a proxy. With Wireshark and proxy, we can actually look into and determine. But from our perspective, some malicious URL. It was validated by Microsoft, and good level of confidence that something that the end user should stay away from, and we can add to our blacklist.